Hello everyone, welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with your host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Johanna White. Welcome to the show, Johanna.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Welcome. Well, we're going to play a game of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire once I find the right button to click. And what you need to know is that you have 3 lifelines, Johanna. And there's a poll the audience, 50-50 split, or you have 30 seconds to get your phone out and quickly Google the answer. So they're your 3 lifelines. If you're not sure, don't guess. Use your lifeline. That's always the advice. All right, first question for you, Hannah. Capsaicin is the chemical compound responsible for which of the following? Sour lemons, sweet apples, hot peppers, or bitter coffee? Capsaicin is the chemical compound, and is it responsible for sour lemons, sweet apples, hot peppers, or bitter coffee? Do you have any idea, Johanna?
I'm going to say C, hot peppers.
Always gets me nervous when people lock things in without a lifeline, but it doesn't matter. That was correct. Well done, Johanna.
Do I have a limit of lifelines that I can use?
You've got 3, and once you use them, you are on your own. I always help people with 1 question usually as well. So technically you get 4 lifelines. Okay. Capable of storing up to 200 gallons of water, a saguaro is a type of what? Cactus, watermelon, horse, or frog?
I'm going to say A, cactus.
Wow. I think you might be a smart cookie, Johanna. No lifelines.
I can't, I just can't imagine a frog that big. I ride horses and they've never drank quite that much. And I'm pretty sure the world's largest watermelon stops well below that.
Using a bit of logic.
Deductive reasoning.
Absolutely. Got it correct. Okay, next question. Capri pants are named for a picturesque resort island located off the coast of what country? Italy, Jordan, Spain, or Brazil? Capri pants, what are they named after? Picturesque resort island off the coast of what country? If you were to guess, what would you guess?
Okay, I'm allowed to guess it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really loving Italy.
You're pretty confident?
Italy.
You want to lock it in?
But I'm happy to pull the audience and see if they're better at geography than I am.
I think we should lock it in. I think you know what you're talking about. Save your lifeline. You got it correct. Gave you a little bit of a nudge, but I think I talked you out of locking it in, so that's why I helped you there. Cape Rangel or Cape Rangel is located at what extreme point in the US? North, south, east, or west? Cape Rangel. Have you heard of this?
I have not. And
Okay.
since I already admitted a weakness with the geography.
Might need to pull out the lifelines. Which one would you like?
Yes. Let's Google this one.
Let's Google it. Okay, well,
So I have 30
you've got
seconds.
30 seconds to Google it.
That might have been a mistake. I'm not sure. I can ask. Okay. Google likes to say west. D.
Let's lock it in. Google is correct, and Johanna is as well. Next question. Where are we up to? Let me just move this out of the way. $750 question. Going for the $1,000. This is the safe zone question. Cape Aguiljas, and not the nearby Cape of Good Hope, is the southernmost point of what continent? Australia, Africa, Europe, Asia. Cape Aguiljas.
Um, well, I clearly don't know this one from deductive reasoning.
Do you know where the Cape of Good Hope is?
I wish that I did.
Okay, so you need help.
I can venture a guess, but let's pull the audience.
Can I just ask what you were guessing before we use the lifeline?
Yeah, I was going to guess Africa.
Okay. And which lifeline would you like to use?
Because I'm clearly wrong. What are my other two lifelines?
You have poll the audience or 50-50 split.
Oh, okay. Let's do a 50-50.
50-50 split says Australia and Africa. And I didn't necessarily tell you to use your lifeline because you were wrong. I have already given you a hint. That's why I didn't get involved.
You wanted to make it more exciting.
I tell you what, I'm in Australia. There's no Cape Aguiljas down here.
Fine. I was correct. B, Africa.
All right. Lock it in. Well done. $1,000 mark. $1,000 of genuine pretend money. Continuing on. Captain Edward John Smith famously piloted what historic craft? Titanic? Titan submersible? The Hindenburg? La Santa Clara? I don't know what the Santa Clara is. I've heard of the other ones.
I am actually going to go with D, Santa Clara.
Johanna, use the lifeline.
Julian, this game
is rigged.
Okay.
Let's poll the audience. Otherwise, you'll be gone too quickly. All right. Get the votes coming in, and we'll see what the audience says. They're coming in. Why does it take you so long? Here we are. The audience has gone with A, Titanic for 52%, B, the Titan submersible for 11%, C, the Hindenburg 20%, and D, La Santa Clara 17%. So overwhelming majority for the Titanic A. But you can choose to do whatever.
Well then, I guess we better go with that.
Better go with the old audience.
Here's the point in time.
Dodged a bullet there, Johanna.
That movie. Did I though?
You did, yes. Well, you were heading straight for a brick wall at La Santa Clara. You're still alive. No lifelines left. Captured in an iconic photograph, the World War II flag raising at Iwo Jima took place atop what mountain? Mount Fuji, Mount Suribachi, Mount Rushmore, or Mount Everest? Have you seen this photo?
I have seen the photo. It's definitely not Mount Everest or Mount Rushmore, that much I can tell you.
We would have lost the war if they put it on Mount Everest, I think.
And we probably wouldn't have carved if they put it on Mount Rushmore.
True. So we've got two left, both of them in Japan, which is good. Which one do you think it is?
It's a 50-50 guess. I honestly don't know, so I'm going to go with A, Fuji.
I was going to get you to pull a coin out. I'm going to flip my driver's license. If it lands on the face, A. If it lands on the back, B. It's saying A as well. Let's lock it in. Unfortunately, it's Mount Suribachi. Suribachi. famous
So
photo. Anyway, you did very well and you had fun, and that's the most important thing. And now we're going to talk about all of the cool things that you're doing about personal branding. How did you get into this and your business, which I think is primarily about visual branding? Would you say that's correct?
it is about visual branding and brand messaging. So it is about the heart of all of it, not just what you see. But I need 10 seconds to recover from, public humiliation over my lack of geography skills, which I did not promise to have those when I said yes. So, just putting that out there.
Hey, we're not playing for sheep stations, as they say down here. It's all just for fun. And tell us about visual brand. What are some cues that make our brain perceive it as a premium versus commodity? I guess this podcast is very much on the premium end. Just kidding.
So when it comes to a visual brand, there are a couple of things that our brains pick up on and say, wow, this is well done. Time and effort was put into this. This company runs with excellence. And two of those things would be consistency and intentionality. So I like to say that, a lot of brands do a decent job at consistency. They may show up the same everywhere, but how they're showing up may not mean anything. There may not be any reason behind the look, the feel, the colors, even the words that they're using in their marketing materials. And so your brain perceives that as scattered. And scattered is not something we are drawn to as like, ooh, yeah, give me that. It's clearly the best. So great brands always have a reason. Design styles can be wildly different. And I know most people would hear that question of what does a brand perceive as, or what does your eye perceive something as premium versus a commodity? And you think, well, if they use enough gold metallics, well, if they use enough marble, if they use enough this. But in reality, it could look like graffiti or it could look like the Ritz. But if it doesn't have meaning behind it and it's not communicating a clear story, if it's not intentional, it will not be perceived as premium.
Right. And how can someone know if leveling up their visual brand is something they should be trying to do to boost their business?
Well, they can ask themselves a few questions about what is standing in between them and their goals right now. So if they are confident that the service they offer is really excellent, but it doesn't feel like the amount of people who know about it or the amount of people who are rushing out to pay them for that service is equal to the quality of the service they're providing, it's a very good chance they have a branding problem because their perceptions of the value is not aligned with the actual value they're offering. Or they can ask themselves if they're currently charging what they feel like they're worth. And if they're not, if they're delivering something amazing again and they're stuck undercharging, there's a very good chance that the reason they have to undercharge is because their audience does not perceive their worth. So their brand is not doing its job to visually validate their value to the people they want to work with the most. If they are on sales calls all the time and they're getting people on the calls, but then they are stuck explaining till they're blue in the face why you should work with them and why you're worth it for a truly great service, but they're having to over-explain and oversell it, then their brand is not carrying its weight to help create that desire and that confidence and trust in their product ahead of time. And so those are 3 questions they can start with. If you ask yourself any of those and those seem to be your stuck points, there's a very good chance you have a branding problem and it's time to level up.
Yes, I think a lot of people get into that trap. There's a certain sort of confident assuredness with certain brands, and they don't really need to, push the sale, I guess. You just assume that they know what they're doing. You also talk about visual brand positioning. What does this mean, and how does it apply to personal brands, not just products?
Well, let's probably some of that will relate back to the first question you asked. But when it comes to brand positioning, there are many, many different definitions. Wow. It's a term that's tossed around a lot in marketing and branding and sales and has a lot of different meanings. But the one that I apply to it is the ability of quite literally taking your product or service and placing it next to a known brand or a known product that has the same level of quality and raving fans that your product should have or deserves to have, or that you want it to have. So, for example, let's make it really literal. If you've ever opened a magazine, GQ, Elle, any Men's Health, it doesn't matter. You'll see ads, and in those ads, you will see that the product and fashion industry is extremely good at brand positioning and taking it very literally. You'll see a girl in a gown on a white horse galloping through the streets of New York, and it's all to sell a bottle of perfume, which has absolutely nothing to do with horses. It has nothing to do with that scenario. But the reason they did that was because they're positioning their perfume with other things that mean luxury already to consumers. Gowns, horses are a symbol of wealth. Girl in dress galloping on horse with no tax, symbol of freedom. And so they are literally taking their product and positioning it in your mind right next to something else you already think of as desirable. And just like that, they have created desire for what they're selling by showing you those two things positioned together. So that is my very literal term of brand positioning. And it's typically used for product-based businesses, but it's becoming more known on how to do that in a personal brand. So with a personal brand, if you're talking visuals, it might be the staging items that are in the background of your personal brand photos on your website. What is there? What are you wearing? What's in the room? What's in this place? What are you positioned next to? And in a much more broad term, it would be, who does your company associate with? If you've got a logo cloud on your website that says we work with these types of clients, or we speak on these stages, or we have been featured in these magazines, you are positioning your brand next to someone else who is successful, and therefore the perception rises. And I'll stop there because that was a really long answer.
Yes, that was a good answer though. What is it that people get wrong, I guess, when they come and talk to you? What are some of the myths about the industry, I guess, as far as what people expect?
Well, there's a myth that your brand is just about visuals. It used to be even more perpetuated that your brand was just your logo. But now that has begun to expand, and people are like, oh, my brand, it's my colors, it's my fonts, it's how I use them. And they're not wrong to an extent. That visual representation is part of your brand, but your real brand is how you are perceived when you show up in the world. It is what people think about you before you're in the room. It is what they know about your product from your website, from your social media, from your podcast pages. It is what they perceive about you. And so when it comes to a brand, it's not just tell me what you like. Do you like pinks? Do you like dogs? Okay, I'll make a logo of a pink dog and it'll be beautiful and cute, and you can use it to brand your company. it's really tell me what makes you special and different and unique. And when we figure out what your X factor is, then it's creating visuals that communicate that X factor to the world. So the misperception is that you should simply go find a graphic designer, tell them your favorite colors, and tell them what to make. When in reality, you should find someone who can help you understand what your brand stands for and who you want to work with the most and what appeals to them, and creates a visual brand around that message and truly helps you tell that story, instead of finding a graphic designer to make a logo, finding a copywriter to put some words on your website, and then finding a web designer to throw it all together and hope that it sticks.
It sounds to me like you work with a lot of luxury brands. Is that correct? Or what type of businesses do you work with mostly?
I have worked with everything from startups to Fortune 200 companies, but my sweet spot and where I really love to play is at the intersection of where company brands and personal brands meet. So I have a lot of clients that are coaches, authors, speakers, advisors, people who are offering a service, but they are not just a sole proprietor. They are truly building a company that also stands on its own. And their qualities as a service provider add value to the company, and what the company does and can offer adds value and authority to the expert, and together we create the brand that showcases both. So that's my favorite sweet spot, is people who are really the best at what they do, and maybe they are still on the fringe of being a best kept business secret. So they're phenomenal product or phenomenal service, but the world hasn't quite caught on to that yet. And so it's helping them take their brand and make them look as good as they actually are, so they can finally attract their most ideal clients and be as delightfully expensive as they deserve to be.
Sounds good. And if people want to reach Johanna, I've got her social handle on the screen. I'll put it in the show notes as well. And what can people expect if they go to your website? Can they book a consultation with you?
Yes, absolutely. They're going to find a button all the way down the page. They can book a consult, and they'll have to fill out a little application form, because I am a little bit picky about who I work with. I want to make sure they are extremely confident about where they're going in the world, and make sure I'm the person to help get them there. So if they answered any of those questions earlier about when it's time to level up their brand, and they went, I'm undercharging, or I just can't seem to sell this, even though I'm great at sales, like people aren't getting it. Maybe it's a great time to see if their brand could pull some weight around here.
Yes, I'm sure there are some people that are in that position, ready to go to the next level, and make sure you have a chat with Johanna. And I get the impression she knows what she's talking about. Thanks for coming on, Johanna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks for listening and watching. I'm going to wrap things up, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.